Boom. Okay. I just hit it. Just hit the record button.
Okay.
Just like that.
All right. So today on the God's Plan podcast, we have some breaking news. And it's very, very exciting news. Ghislaine Maxwell has been taken into federal custody.
Nobody knows who that is.
That was fucking Jeffrey Epstein's partner in crime, named or unnamed co-conspirator that helped recruit mad of the women into his stupid little prostitute underage harem. And she was evading capture. People were like, she doesn't even exist. And they fucking got her in New Hampshire or some shit. So that is freaking awesome. And if somehow she ends up committing suicide in prison or somehow gets off or anything, I'd just like to put this out there. I will burn this entire bitch to the ground. I will burn it all to the ground if justice is not done in this moment.
Ghislaine, if you're listening, be careful.
And
also,
please stay up on your shifts.
Yeah.
Correctional officers.
Make sure the security guards stay awake.
Please stay up on your shifts and please have security cameras updated so that they're actually, on.
Okay. Well, this is kind of crazy. Yeah, on a different note.
On a brighter note?
On a different note. No, it only gets sadder from here because we need to make an announcement that we're only going to be doing 20 episodes of the God's Plan podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So this is 17. We got 3 left to go. So that just makes them that much more valuable, guys. Kind of like Tarantino, how he's limiting his movies to only 10.
And remember, you want to be that kind of person that says, oh, well, I was listening to that before it was popular.
Right.
You want to be that person. So stay tuned.
Yeah, so this is 17. So today, what's special about this episode?
What's special about this episode is that we're nearing the end of the GPP cinematic universe.
We got a crazy. You almost just leaked.
I know.
Yeah, there is a crazy. We should promote that one too.
Yeah, well, soon. It's coming soon.
Soon.
We have a repeat guest today. He's one of my personal best friends.
He's not a commie.
He has been mentioned in multiple episodes. He has had explicit shout at him from probably our last 3 guests.
After he came on
in a row.
Yeah, after he came on our last episode 3 it was. Dirty Commies and Bikini Bodies. Yeah. After that episode, he just received loads and loads of hate mail from all the people that actually thought that he was a real communist, but he's not in fact a communist, guys. We can all put that.
Unlike one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, I'm not a self-proclaimed professional Marxist.
Oh my god! Not getting into that later. Light podcast.
Professional Marxist,
podcast.
dude.
Yeah.
Can we hold on? Let's intro him.
Yes, that video was uncomfortable for me.
McKinnon, welcome back.
It's good to be back. Good to be back. Glad we're not talking politics this time.
Dude, I like how our intro is just slander until they have to just say something.
Yeah.
Have to. I just got to point out.
I'm not waiting for the fucking intro.
Screw the air horn, guys.
For anyone who didn't get that, there is a viral video going around of one of the 3 co-founders, who were 3 women of color, obviously, of Black Lives Matter. One of them was caught on video back in 2015, I believe. And she self-proclaimed, said she is a professionally trained Marxist, which obviously puts the movement in a darker light. Obviously, we don't like full-blown commies.
Yeah,
back in 2015.
I thought Raz was the leader.
No, Raz was the leader of Chaz.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Chaz.
No, we're talking about BLM.
No, Chaz no more. Chaz got shut down. Cops went in, cleared him out.
I heard about that.
So much for that.
Sad. I was going to move there. That was my backup plan.
Well, when you have 4 shootings within a week and a half, you don't leave the cops much option.
You got to take the good and take the bad, man. There are risks inherent in everything we do in life.
Sometimes it was true anarchy for almost a month.
I saw a dude get his cell phone. I saw a guy get his cell phone stolen in Chaz.
I think New York's opening up a Chaz now. I think it's called the City Hall autonomous zone, so it's also Chaz.
Oh, I did hear that.
Yeah, I heard faint rumblings about that.
Faint rumblings. I haven't yet. Nothing big yet. Yeah. My NYPD source has been quiet on that front.
Ooh.
Come to think of it, I haven't heard from him in a few days. I hope he's doing all right.
Shout out to unnamed NYPD informant.
Oh, I can't give up the name. You know, he's going to get so much hate mail, more than I got on my last podcast episode.
We received death threats.
Multiple death threats. So we still have a few left to publish, but I'd like to start with the criticism of you, Duncan, from our last few guests. Now, I was never a part of this particular trend in the social circle, but Kyle, the mayor of Greenwich, Adam, and potentially, I don't remember if Corey said it or not, when they referred to you, they just simply said, "Fuck Duncan."
Oh yeah, no, there is so much air that you have to clear out. Yeah. So much. People have been.
We call this Avatar: The Last Airbender section, where you just kind of clear all the air about all the misinformation that's been put out on you.
Dude, people have been talking so much shit about you on this show. What do you?
I think I can clear it all up. Everything they said is 100% true. And if anything, they undersold it.
Oh my God. Whoa.
Wow. Okay, so now we can put in the description of the episode, Duncan finally responds to the haters. It's not what
You're right.
Duncan bends the air, bends and clears the air. Okay.
Yo, so but we're not just talking about you, Duncan. They went after your family, like your ancestors.
Oh, yeah.
The McKinnon-Bentley feud.
Oh.
There's got to be some...
It's so much like an Englishman of the Bentley household to take pride in driving us from our homeland by stealing our potatoes and not letting us eat. Our population dropped by millions. But at the same time, I almost have to thank them because my family probably would have never migrated over to America if not for that famine once upon a time. And now Britain has left the EU, so now there's a border battle back in the Northern Ireland part. If they would just give us Northern Ireland back and give Scotland their freedom, you know what? I'd say bygones can be bygones. But until that day happens, the Bentley-McKinnon feud will continue.
An even more aggressive claim that I heard that might be worse than the forced starvation of an entire population of people was that the Bentley clan apparently used to beat the McKinnon clan in multiple baseball debates as well.
Oh my God. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you, how much you guys pay attention to baseball, but the main one we got into.
I'll tell you that.
All right. They don't tell you that. Not if you're a Red Sox fan. No, it's the main one was who is the better pitcher back at their peaks, David DeGrom or Matt Harvey. This was six-ish years ago. Since that debate that night, I said DeGrom was better. He said Matt Harvey, the Dark Knight, was better. Since then, Matt Harvey out of the league. DeGrom just won a Cy Young Award last year. So I think we all know who actually won that debate. And it's your boy, the Irish Scotsman who hates the English. Give us our freedom, motherfuckers.
Freedom!
Damn, that's a freedom horn.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I heard echoes of William Wallace's famous battle speech back in the background there.
Hey, you know what they say? One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Long live the IRA.
I thought it was the IPA, the Irish Publican Army.
Made with extra hops.
Yeah, I do respect what you say here. If I know anything about our great mayor of Greenwich, he's a very stubborn man. Very, very stubborn man.
Ardent in his beliefs, I'd say.
I don't know if he's going to be flexible on this.
His roommate absolutely chewed us out that night because we were arguing at the top of our lungs for hours. I don't even know what time it was, 2, 3 in the morning, something like that, before his roommate finally snapped on us.
Whoa. What is this? I don't think I heard about this night.
Oh yeah, no, just one of those drunken nights back when he was living at in Glastonbury, whatever those apartments were. I don't even remember what his roommate's name was, but she was not pleased with us.
Oh now I remember. Oh, okay, now I remember.
You know, the same apartment you punched a hole in the wall at.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is that still touchy? That's still a touchy subject.
I will have you know, Kyle. Our relationship is stronger than it's ever been. We've hashed this out. We've beefed it out. Now we're kind of on the same level. We're kind of on the same page here. and we can just
No,
laugh
no,
about
I'm
it
telling you,
because
man.
he knows he was completely
what
wrong
the
about
English
the whole
do.
thing. Totally
No,
kidding.
no,
Totally
no.
kidding.
You're falling into the English's playbook. They act all prim and proper. They act all nice to your face. And as soon as you turn around and go back home, they steal all your potatoes. It's their classic game plan.
I've seen it happen 100 times.
I'm telling you, man, next time you meet up with him, run back home, because if you don't get there right away, he's going to beat you and steal all your potatoes.
Dude,
There's only one answer to this feud, and that's eternal war.
I guess
Eternal war.
There can be only one.
If they won't give us our freedom, they know what the consequence is.
There was a really heartwarming moment, though, where the most recent time after we hashed out the beef, I went to his place again, the same apartment, and then the very first thing I did, before even saying anything to him, I just tossed my keys over to him, and he bursted out laughing, and then we just had this moment where we just looked at each other, and there was just this unstated acknowledgement. We both kind of knew we knew it was over. We knew the beef was over.
It was an unspoken thing. Yeah,
it was beautiful.
Some intimacy passed between your eyes.
Yeah, some intimacy between two men staring deeply into each other's eyes. A lot being left unsaid that only you two understand.
A lot.
Somehow, yeah. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, when tension gets relieved like that.
Especially in modern times, it's definitely considered beautiful.
I think
back 30 years ago, maybe not so much.
I've been repairing so many friendships, man. Right.
Well, good luck on your road trip, man. That's going to be a test. Week in a metal death trap at high speeds on the highway. If you can get through that, then you are truly friends with everyone in that car.
Yeah, just for have a cross-country road trip coming up. It's going to be a 6 or 7 day thing. Connecticut to San Francisco.
Featuring.
And, Duncan explicitly gave me instructions. He instructed me not to bring up politics. And,
I wouldn't bring up politics or religion. Just the hot button ones. I'd leave in Connecticut before you leave.
Just follow what mom and dad said. No, none of that at the dinner table.
Exactly. Just imagine you're at the dinner table for a full week, and you'll be good.
Yeah, everybody's an adult, man. We can all control our emotions.
Famous last words.
I can't.
All right. So
should we get to it?
Yeah.
The reason we're here.
This is kind of normally we do we say what we're gonna do on the episode, but today Duncan really likes to talk about movies. He's a movie guy.
I'm something of a cinephile.
He watches them, directs them, produces them,
acts in them.
He's an
Now, that one's not bullshit. On the Netflix hit Zom rom-com, for those of you not in the business, it stands for zombie romantic comedy. It's called Night of the Living Deb, as in Deborah. I'm in the trailer. I'm a featured zombie in that movie. You can see my face in one scene and my back in a couple others. I'm full-blown zombie star.
Are you actually on IMDb?
God, no.
Oh, damn.
We had Jamie. We could check that.
They said I need at least 3 more zombie roles before I can get my, Actors Guild Award and actually start showing up on credits. So unfortunately, I'm not in the credits. But even if you don't want to watch the whole movie on Netflix, look up the little 2.5-minute trailer on YouTube. You'll catch me. Gray t-shirt, blood all over my chest. I get hit with a shotgun.
And this is all 100% true. Not even bullshitting. This is
not even bullshit.
True.
This is all real. I shot it, I think 6 years ago at this point. Came out 4 years ago on Netflix. Oh, yeah. Night of the Living Dead. Check it out. If you're really looking for some brainless entertainment. This is a zombie movie.
Oh my goodness, he's got puns galore today.
Oh my god.
Don't even talk to a cinephile. Yeah. So the reason I wanted to do this one...
just biting at your heels to get a chance at watching. So did you...
I don't know if you guys have ever run into this problem, but especially during this quarantine, you're home, you're trying to watch something, and you end up just in that freedom of choice trap where there's just so many options to choose from. You end up just scrolling for an hour before you finally just throw on something that you've heard is good and you have to watch on your phone anyways.
You just sink into the abyss.
You'll see me just fall into the ground if I'm I don't know, and I'll just go on the ground and just lay there.
It's like the Netflix
it's really the paralysis of choice. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for us to come up with a small list of movies that are been tried and tested by us, actual movie watchers, not professional critics, and try to give people
professional actors,
a couple hours to kill while they continue to responsibly reopen into society.
So, yeah, to be clear, we're going to be talking about movies that are not critically acclaimed, specifically.
Purposely. Because everyone knows Castaway is a great movie. Everyone knows,
Titanic. So this means no Titanic?
No Titanic, no Departed, none of those Oscar winners. We all know Get Out is an amazing movie. But I'm looking for the, ones on the back shelf. Where those ones at?
So before we do this, these are most likely independent movies featuring Irish potato farmers, which I know personally about you is one of your favorite genres.
I only have one Irish movie on my list.
An IPO for it's an Irish potato famine type. You can just check that on Netflix.
IPF? We don't talk about the IPF, man.
IPF. Whatever movies you're into.
No, it is nice though to have these ones that they fly under the radar sometimes, and they can just be like really hidden gems of movies. All right, Duncan, what movies you got for us?
Duncan, what's all this about movies?
All right, so during this quarantine and COVID crisis and all that, I had time to watch a lot of movies, and I've come into the problem where I open Netflix or HBO Go or Hulu or whatever, and there's just so many options. I never know what to pick. You waste an hour scrolling through. Eventually, you just end up watching something either you already seen before and you like, or just some movie that is like people have said it's good. Like Castaway, I'd never seen. Everyone talks about Castaway. I was like, all right, I guess I'll watch that one after 45 minutes of failing to find anything new to watch. So what I'm trying to say is I'm looking for movies here that you wouldn't just pick like that. Like I only knew that because it won Best Picture. Everyone talks about it being wicked popular. We're looking for those legitimately good new movies you probably haven't seen that are just fun films. You can kind of turn your brain off to, I call them popcorn movies, could be B movies, in that genre, in that ilk, if you will.
Ooh, ilk.
And specifically ones that critics slammed. Because those are how you get your cult classics, like your Donnie Darkos of the world.
Yeah.
Like something that was just so unpopular at the time, had so much bad press going in, but a lot of people ended up seeing it, and a lot of people love that movie to this day. So we're looking for more of those kind of movies.
So how many of these movies on your list are IPO fams?
No IPFs. One with Irish guys in it.
Okay,
that's an all-time favorite of mine.
IPO fam. Irish potato
Only one Irish
genre.
film. I had to limit myself.
I'm glad you were disciplined and objective in this, because I know you're a big IPO fam. After a Zom rom-com, you like to just chill out with an IPO fam and an IPA.
That
just
genre,
sit back on the hops.
That genre's overdone, man. Like, we get it, guys. We get it.
You're hungry.
Everyone's got a new take. You know how it is. So I want to ask you guys, what do you think what are like the aspects of a movie that make them such audience favorites, such like fun popcorn affair, but critics, guys who are paid to watch these and recommend them to people to tell you how to use your time, why do they slam them? These types of movies.
Why do critics hate these types of movies?
Yeah, that audiences love. Your popular B movies, if you will.
You mean like there's some kind of mismatch between what the people who are supposed to be professionals and then just the general public of what they think about a movie?
I bet that the critics have some kind of formal standard and like checklist they have to go through with every movie. It's like story, the character development, blah, and they have to go through this, and it's like an objective, like quantitative ass standard.
Almost like a rubric back in high school.
Yeah, and if that's not like developed or anything, or if something like new comes out and like audiences are like, holy shit, I love this, they're like, oh, well, technically by our standards it sucks.
Because they're trained.
Like Sharknado. I think Sharknado is a good example, right?
That would be a good example. That's gonna be
critics.
Like, it's a cult classic because it's just such a wild idea. Like, just I don't even know, man. I don't even know.
So where does the devotion from us plebs come from for these cult classics? Like, why do we get so attached to these types of films?
Something about the absurdity of it.
My question is
just the gall that someone had to make it.
Yeah, and it's just I mean, literally, it's combining like, hey, what do people like? They're like, what's scary? What do people like are afraid of? It's like sharks. It's like, yeah, what's scary? I don't know. Like, what if it was just a tornado with sharks? A lot of these might be drug induced as well. I'm not sure.
I would almost guarantee that.
But I have a sneaking suspicion that idea doesn't come naturally.
So
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Borno, though, please.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this happens in other domains, like where the professionals who are trained to look for specific things will completely disagree with what just lay people will say. Like a cake, like maybe a chef comes to instance, like a professional chef will say like, oh, this dish tastes amazing. And then some normal dude off the street would taste it and be like, oh, this tastes like garbage.
I'll take the one to my right with more sugar on it, you know?
Shouldn't we just put our faith in the experts?
Class-based.
Oh, wow. Bringing it full circle, I see.
Division.
Wait, what?
Class-based division. All these rich chefs making their fancy foods. With all their fancy spices.
Did I just say something? Did I just say like a buzzword or something?
I don't know, but I think I just made a buzzword. But
well, I think a crisis in our
answer,
institutions
Duncan?
and experts is clearly happening in this country. I just didn't realize, you're right, it also extends to the movie theater. That's just how ingrained it is.
Systematic.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, these people are trained to look for specific things. I'm sure they have, like you said, like a checklist and certain features of a movie that they're supposed to look for, like how long I don't know. I mean, I was watching a film, like a critical analysis of There Will Be Blood, and this dude talked for 20 minutes about how many shots were in the film. In the opening section, there's something like 78 shots, which is an average of each shot is held for, I don't know, like 10 to 15 seconds, which is like way longer than a normal movie, like any other movie on average. And it just totally changes the viewing experience. It can make a lot of people might think it's boring that way.
Almost sounds disorienting.
Maybe.
Like, I'm used to a lot of movies with quick cuts, you know, unless you're in a Tarantino film, like where you know it's just going to be a few long scenes. That's how most movies are. Like, I can't imagine most movies have scenes longer than 5-6 seconds at this point.
And yeah, you're probably right. Like that would be the disorienting
exceptions
thing,
for the
because you're just
monologues, which every movie has. But yeah,
I think if the shots last longer on average, that would be a little more stable viewing experience, opposed to, even though we're just used to all the quick cuts, that's kind of like the...
It's because they got to adapt to our attention spans.
That's the
I know, yeah. Because what you're talking about, you're going more toward... Yeah, because what you're talking about, Borno, is you're more going towards the play atmosphere, you know? Like one stage, one scene, you're just focused on it for a whole act before they break and costume change, you know?
Well, there have been films that have been praised very highly for doing this stuff. Birdman comes to mind, and then the new one.
Well, it's one of Tarantino's best tricks that he does in every single movie.
Right. Kubrick's known for the long hallway shot sometimes, but now we're just getting into the...
this is Film Nation. All right, are we ready to...
Must be the line.
Yes, my... Okay.
All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and describe the process we put in, or at least I put into putting together my own list.
Grab
you guys
the bull
can
by the horns,
talk about
Duncan.
yours. So I looked up a bunch of movies I liked that I've seen a couple times at least, and checked their Rotten Tomato scores. And I was specifically looking for the difference between their tomato meter critic score and the audience score. And I stuck to movies where the audience score was at least significantly higher than the critic score, to try to stay true to our topic here. I don't know what you guys did for yours.
Yes. Well, that's a surprise to everyone.
I got something cooking. I didn't check the IMDb score or the Rotten Tomato score or anything for the movies I have, but I just know that they are like not very popular and they didn't really win many awards.
I can say Justice League sucked.
I definitely don't need the Zack Snyder cut. I want nothing to do with that.
I'm so pumped for the Snyder cut.
I don't need it.
I'm pumped.
Dude, it's gonna suck again.
I don't
Why
care.
do people think it's gonna be good?
Somehow got them to freaking release the Snyder cut.
It's wild that the internet has that power.
I'm so happy.
It's gonna be a different type of shit. It's just gonna smell a little different, but just as bad.
I know, but we like a little bit of different.
Dude, this could be a new Justice Bad.
Just as bad.
Just as
Wow.
Just as
That's
bad
what-
and
just
just as bad. Oh
That should be the
God.
title. That's genius. That's
Good
why
judge,
you host a
bad
podcast for now.
We got
God damn, we're good.
Wordplay like that.
bad wordplay.
So, anyways, did one of you guys want to start it off?
Okay, I'll just do it. I'll just do it because it sounds like everybody else is getting cold feet here. Let me jump right in.
They're freezing.
Now, Duncan, you may not have heard of this, but I guess that's kind of the point. Okay, hold on. I had a way to intro this. Okay, call me Ted Williams because I'm coming all the way in from left field on this one.
You played right field, asshole.
The Bentleys would have you on a steak right now.
Dude, can
On
you
a
fact check
fucking
that? 'Cause
platter.
I think I know my baseball. Anyways,
Yeah, I can fact check that for you.
let's...
Yaz played left.
Yaz, Carl Yastrzemski. Okay, anyways, the movie I want to talk about is Heathers. Have you heard of it?
Oh, what a good selection. What a
right?
great pick. What
Right?
a, oh,
Dude, the
why did that
original...
movie never cross
Yes,
my
you've probably
mind
never
for
heard of
this?
I
this
have
one,
never
right?
heard of
This
Oh,
is
please,
straight up a cult
please.
classic. Yeah, people have...
oh yeah. I'm
it
a
got-
member of that cult.
It got bad reviews, but it's basically the original... I mean, nowadays, people love it. It's the original Mean Girls.
Really?
And it was directed...
My cult never played it.
It was literally directed by the brother of the director of Mean Girls. His last name is Waters. I forget the actual name. It was like George Waters or something. So I don't know if there's any kind of... They helped each other out maybe or something. They grew up in a house where teenagers
Like
like...
girls were mean to their sister
Yeah.
or something, and they both have two different ways of telling the story.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. But anyways, yeah, the movies are so similar, so it's crazy. And Heathers came out in 1988. I don't know, when was Mean Girls? Like 2008-ish?
Yeah, I think it was closer to 4 actually, but
4, something like that. I feel like it's almost I don't know. I've only...
Heathers was 89.
Comparing the two
Ooh.
is hard. I don't really know as
a
much
20-year
about
difference.
Mean Girls. But like it touches on deep, like super deep problems for teenagers.
I think Mean Girls is probably the best thing Tina Fey and Lindsay Lohan have ever done.
Tina Fey was
That's
in
probably
Mean Girls?
Tina Fey wrote and directed it, I think.
Dude, I love Tina Fey. I didn't know she did that.
So,
Maybe I should
anyways-
watch
No,
it.
she didn't direct it. She wrote it.
Well, wrote it, yeah.
Waters directed it. Yeah.
Dude,
But yeah, no,
Heathers-
and Tina Fey's in it too. She's like the math teacher or whatever.
Oh, I love Tina Fey. And the girl that
Oh,
played
yeah.
Leslie Nope.
guys, we're not talking about popular movies here. Fuck
I'm
the
sorry, we're talking about Parks and Rec. My
No,
bad, my
but
bad.
the point is, Mean Girls has specifically like stated they got a lot of their inspiration from Heathers. It's
It
funny, Kelsey was
must
just
have.
telling me this tonight.
Yeah, they're brothers.
The guy who directed Heathers is actually mad it doesn't get talked about more how big of a impact it had on Mean Girls.
Oh yeah, I mean they're literally
They're
brothers.
brothers.
Yeah.
So it's a movie about a badass who rides a motorcycle, and then yeah, we'll leave it at that.
My favorite part of that movie is just like every time you think it's not going to surprise you, like it really does.
They didn't pull any punches.
This is
They-
Heather still?
Heathers, yeah. They make
Yeah,
a-
this is Heathers.
It's like a satirical commentary on how society just fucks kids up and just fucks them.
That's probably Christian Slater's peak, right? That's probably his
he
mountaintop
was only
performance.
20 years old when he did that.
He really, I mean, can
20,
you
dude.
name any better role than his role in Heathers?
I can't even name any other role that he's done. I don't know what the hell the guy's. I don't know what this dude's in. I just know he's a badass.
He was an archer for an episode, I think.
Oh, Christian Slater did an episode of Archer.
Yeah, he was like a CIA
So,
agent.
Duncan, no, I mean, I should have known, dude. I should have never doubted you. I'm obviously really glad you've heard of that movie. So, yeah, that was my movie.
Well, it was one of my sister's favorites as well. So, in a household with 2 brothers, 2 sisters, you had to find common ground, and that's one anyone can watch. Everyone can appreciate that movie.
Yeah, dude, the humor was, dude, just
Universal.
like
It's universal.
Yeah, the lines were really funny. I heard he made up some of the
yeah,
jargon,
some
like
improv performance in there.
when the girls say, "Oh, that's very," and then they just leave it at that. Like very is an adjective. That's I guess he just made that up. That wasn't even a saying back in the late 80s.
No shit, I did not know that.
It's like yeah, a lot of it got a lot of inspiration. Wait, no, I'm thinking of someone else inspired the film. Can't remember it. But yeah, good film. Heathers, 1988. Check it out. Christian Slater, Winona Ryder, just peaking all over the place in their acting careers.
I guess I'll jump in with my first one. So I'm going in ascending order of differential between critic score and audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So my first one, 17% difference between the score. Run, Fat Boy, Run, an English romantic comedy brought to you by Simon Pegg and Tandy Newton.
Run,
you thought that was better? Oh, the audience liked that way better than the critics then?
Yeah, so that's a 47% critic score, an official Rotten from Rotten Tomatoes, and a 64% audience score.
So is this title is this a nod to Forrest Gump or something?
No, he's the guy from Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, so Simon Pegg is famously known for Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, those kind of movies. I think he's in like an alien movie named Earl or something like that, Evan, something like that.
Yeah, I know. I know that.
Yeah, he's kind of known for his English offbeat humor. And in 2007, I believe this was, he took a swing with Maeve from Westworld, if anyone has been watching that show, Tandy Newton, as the love interest. And he basically, long story short, he loses her. They're about to get married. He runs out on the wedding. This all happens in the first 5 minutes. This isn't like spoilers. And the rest of the main majority of the movie is like 3-5 years later, something like that. And he gets into a fight with her current fiance. And he challenges him to a marathon run. And basically, winner of the marathon will win Tandy Newton. And it is hilarious. If you're a fan of any Simon Pegg movie, Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, anything like that, you'll like this movie, even if it is a romantic comedy and that's not your thing.
It's like a Simon
Pegg
very
movie. Much his. Yeah, it's very much his. I mean, he wrote it, so it's very much his kind of humor.
Yeah,
I do like romantic comedies.
Described it, like that British comedy kind of humor.
Yeah, it's definitely a type. That's why, like, if you haven't seen Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead or any of the other Simon Pegg movies, you don't really have a basis to go off of. I can't really think of a comparison. They're very stylized.
I would definitely put Run, Fat Boy, Run on the third of that list you just listed.
Oh, yeah. No, I would definitely.
Hot Fuzz then.
Oh, definitely. Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead but the critics love those movies. The consensus on Rotten Tomatoes here is Run, Fat Boy, Run features sporadic laughs, but is ultimately too formulaic and predictable. But you know what? In a romantic comedy, sometimes that's what you want. Heathers is not that. Heathers is as unpredictable as it comes. This is more popcorn affair.
Heathers has like black comedy, like dark comedy.
Yeah. This doesn't get nearly. This is much more lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great one if you're trying to work out. Like, I know a lot of people are trying to get into better shape to help fight, help boost their immune systems to fight COVID. This is a good workout motivator movie.
Wait, is the dude even fat? He's like, he doesn't seem like a fat guy
or something, doesn't he?
He puts on a bit of a beer belly for this role. I couldn't give you an exact poundage, but that's probably a good 20-pound beer belly if I had it, just shooting in the dark here.
Oh, I thought it was prosthetic.
It's noticeable.
Okay.
I think he shows it a few times. It could have been a prosthetic.
Oh,
I don't know.
You shouldn't do that. Yo, you want to hear a fun fact? You might know it already, but in The Force Awakens, the guy Rey's talking with at the beginning, the alien, and he's like, "Oh, I'll give you like all these portions for that, for the droid."
Yeah.
That's Simon Pegg.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I love how wicked famous people just casually are in Star Wars roles.
Dude, Daniel Craig plays like a stormtrooper with
people.
Daniel Craig plays like a stormtrooper
I knew about
with
Craig.
One line.
I don't know if this was true or not. I thought I saw Tiffany Haddish was one, but that could have just been some bullshit Twitter shit I saw.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, I know who that is now, dude. She's a comedian / actor, and
she's wicked funny. She's got a Netflix special out that came out months ago. Highly recommend.
The reason I first heard of her was because Joe Rogan was talking about her, and she did a comedy set where she queefed into a microphone on a live
she's
stage.
Nuts, but she is hilarious. Big fan.
Yep, fart humor is still a thing. We don't do that lowbrow humor.
Dude, my brow is on the ground right now.
Yeah,
by listening to that.
We only
not on my list, but her
jokes.
Movie with Kevin Hart, Night School or Night Class, 1 or 2, whatever it's called. Great movie. Highly recommend. Another fun rom-com if you're looking for rom-coms.
What's your name again?
I don't have any others on my list. It was either night school or night class.
No,
with
what's
Kevin
her name
Hart.
again?
Oh, her name, Tiffany Haddish.
But night school. I'd be curious to know what the difference is in the ratings for Heathers actually now. Dude, actually,
Heathers is actually, I looked it up and I didn't want to say it. Heathers loved by the critics. So like in the 90s, fresh.
Even in the 90s, it was still loved by critics. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
I know Tiffany Haddish.
I just know when in the box office, it performed very poorly.
No, box office poorly, and it wasn't nominated for anything as far as I know,
So,
Oscar-wise.
Hopefully that still qualifies for our discussion.
Actually, that's true. I think that Rotten Tomatoes score, that's probably with modern critics saying it. So I would be curious at the time what people were talking about. I don't know if Rotten Tomatoes gets that deep.
Yeah, maybe.
A lot of these reviews seem like they're in the 2000s, just looking at the page. Maybe a flaw in the system, folks.
So,
Knisk, did you have one?
Run Fat Boy from Ron. Did you? Yeah.
I was Googling stuff and I could not find a good one. So this is just like movies that critics hated.
Dude, say I got one for you.
I got one for you.
What is it?
You tricked me into saying that.
No, I was gonna whisper it to you. All right.
Don't worry, we'll edit this out.
But I do want to say, Duncan, The Last Jedi fucking sucked, and you're wrong. That's what I want to say.
Hot take. Pew, 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 pew. Welcome to another segment of Hot Takes with
Hot Takes.
Detective
No. Bring it up. Bring the detective corner up. Fuck this segment.
Okay, Detective Corner.
All right. Duncan, why the fudge do you like The Last Jedi so much? It sucks.
Here we go.
All right, so my defense of The Last Jedi has always been it's a roller coaster of a movie. I've experienced some of my highest highs sitting in a theater in that movie during some of those scenes, and I've also experienced some lowest lows. Like, is this really the fucking bullshit I'm watching? And the perfect juxtaposition of that was in the scene where they, and I'm sorry I'm not a Star Wars like nerd here, I don't know the exact terminology, but when they hyperdrive, I think, through that big spaceship, that shit absolutely blew me away. You could hear a pin drop in the theater, like, besides, like, you literally hear a couple of people gasp in the, sellout crowd I was in.
The whole maneuver is currently debated
for several
in Star Wars
seconds.
Fanverse.
And then,
the one where they like zip through a ship somehow, and
they break off its entire wing. Like, that shit blew my absolute mind.
Broke, but didn't that break canon somehow?
It broke everything. Why didn't nobody do that in the first place? Is what basically it said.
I didn't know the lore enough to know that. Just as your average moviegoer seeing that blew me away. But then, like, real stakes that I thought the movie had, like Leia dying, or Finn, is that his name?
Yeah.
Finn, I thought he was going to die, sacrifice himself. Like, that would have been a beautiful, full story arc for him.
Yeah.
And they took the easy road out for both those scenes. And I did not, that was when I was just like, well, all right, this is clearly made for kids again. So those two moments especially brought me out of it. But so my take has never been, I love it. I said it's a roller coaster. It's got some great moments. And it's got some bad ones. I get why people don't like it.
So
I've seen it like 4 or 5 times.
They suck.
It's a slap in the goddamn face, and that's the conclusion.
And that's why it sucks.
Peace salt.
Undefeated Dylan's Detective.
Undefeated, undisputed. So let's get back to our other conversation.
All right, now
no, I don't have any movies.
Yeah. We can move. Okay, so I don't know how this one did. I didn't look it up on Rotten Tomatoes. I didn't do my homework. Okay, I get it. I'm a bad student. But Duncan, you have Rotten Tomato access. I like the movie.
I do.
Hero. I think it was by Jet Li. I think it might have been directed by Jet Li.
I have seen that as a kid. I had a huge Jet Li phase when I was young.
It's a foreign film. So, I mean, originally, the original language it was filmed in is Mandarin, which when I was a kid and I watched it the first time, I didn't know that it had an English dub. So I straight up just watched it in Mandarin, and I was probably like 12 or something, and I was just like...
The 2002 Jet Li version?
2002, that sounds right, yeah. Yeah, so... Damn,
yeah, that's a 95% fresh.
Yeah.
95% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Rotten Tomatoes.
Fuck. I keep picking actual good...
you just pick great movies, man. But hey,
bro.
I think they're ones people haven't seen. Which is really the goal of this.
I mean, if nobody's seen Hero by Jet Li, Hero, it's so beautiful. Like the message, it wasn't received very well. Like I guess in our country, maybe because people are a little individualistic sometimes.
I just don't know how many people grew up on kung fu like that. Like when I was a little kid, like my dad would bring me to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the Kill Bill movies. I was kind of raised on those.
I wouldn't
type
call
of
this
movies, you know?
It feels a little dirty to even call this one a kung fu movie, dude. Because the message is what I love most about it, and just how beautiful it is, and all the relationships and the storytelling of it all. The use of color in the film is just, it's art. It's a masterpiece. Hero by Jet Li. Check it out. Great one. Great one. Glad you heard of that too, Duncan. You are not letting me down.
Yeah, just give the Rotten Tomatoes blurb real quick. With death-defying action sequences and epic historic sweep, Hero offers everything a martial arts fan could ask for.
Well, I'm interested.
It's like
it's great,
dude. It's poetry, man. And the pacing is beautiful. It has these most like serene moments that are just so slow and
very artful movie. They use colors very well.
It has a lot of like very cinematic scenes with like nature and landscapes and stuff. It's cool.
All right.
It's a beautiful movie to watch. It's like looking at a bunch of paintings almost.
We'll stick with the theme of beautiful movies, and my next pick is a 2006 Hugh Jackman little known classic, The Fountain.
I have
Rotten
heard
Tomatoes
of this.
Rotten Tomatoes blurb: The Fountain, a movie about metaphysics, universal patterns, biblical symbolism, and boundless love spread across 1,000 years, is visually rich but suffers from its own unfocused ambitions. I would disagree with that. I think its sprawling nature only adds to the air of mystery that surrounds the 3 different timelines that are occurring in the movie, all played by different versions of Hugh Jackman. It's probably, in my opinion, his most incredible role in any movie I've ever seen him in.
How much time does he spend shirtless in the film?
At least a fifth of it.
Like 20%? All right.
At least about 20.
I can
about
work
20.
With that.
That's good.
Yeah, but and this is like kind of pre-ripped Logan, is referring to Wolverine. This is kind of not skinny, but lighter him. This is 06.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'll be right back. Just give me a minute.
What year was it?
This was 2006, I believe.
2006. So when did the first X-Men even come out? Was that 2004? 2007 maybe? No, last year came out in 2008.
The very first X-Men, I think, was 2002. But Hugh Jackman's way more ripped now than he was in that first X-Men.
No, he gets progressively more and more ripped.
Yeah.
Like he's working out more and more. He starts doing intermittent fasting more and more and more, and that's why like X-Men, well, whatever, not even X-Men. It's like Wolverine 2. He's like the most ripped when he's supposed to be like
Logan. He's ripped out of his mind.
Yeah, Logan made me feel, man.
Logan was nuts. That's legitimately one of the best movies I've seen in the last few.
Seriously, that almost made me cry. That was the closest I've ever been to
crying. Are you kidding me?
My entire life.
I had tears a couple times that movie. Movies get me, man. Not much gets me. Movies get me.
All right, Doug,
something about the experience.
Did I hear you
when he was holding Laura's hands?
Oh,
and she was like screaming like "Daddy, Daddy!" I almost freaking lost it, man.
Did I hear you say that you didn't really agree with the Rotten Tomatoes blurb of what the movie is supposed to be about?
Oh yeah, not what it was about, just its criticism of it. It says it's visually, just the ending is visually rich but suffers from its own unfocused ambitions. I just don't agree with that criticism. I think that sprawling nature gives it its air of mystery that makes it also a rewatchable movie. Like I've probably rewatched a movie 7 or 8 times at this point, and one of those movies you always pick up new things.
But how focused is the ambition of this movie?
Well, you see, that would depend on the motivations of the ambition and the intensity of the focus of that one watching it.
Now, the execution of they had all this ambition, but what did they do with it? They do it in a focused
Did they use it for
they put it into his pecs and his giant biceps.
They said, no, we're just putting Hugh Jackman in a movie and he's going to do awesome. He's going to play all the roles.
It's where all my ambition is focused.
Well, half the roles. The other main character is played by Rachel Weisz, and she is the love interest. So
is she fucking related to DB Weiss? Because fuck him.
I do not know who DB Weiss is.
He's
I'm
the
not
writer
sure.
dude, he's the guy who ruined Game of Thrones, the writers of the show.
Oh, that guy. No, I do not believe they're related. And if they are, I'm going to be very upset about that.
If there's an opposite of a shout out, I want to do that right now.
Oh, speaking of fact checked, Ted Williams was a left fielder.
Hey, we all make mistakes. Maybe the
Bentley
clan knew.
Maybe the Bentley clan's been feeding you false information. Because the Bentley clan's been wrong. It just will never admit it was wrong.
You know, if you lie 100 times, you're going to happen to be right.
Bentley clan will still tell you played left field or some shit.
Yeah.
And be adamant about it still.
So the actual score differential here, 22% differential. The critics only gave it a 52%. That's a certified rotten. Audience, 74% gave a fresh score. That's out of 261,000 reviews for the audience.
In general,
so that's a pretty good sample size.
Yeah. So in general, the audience tends to rate higher, right? They're a little more generous.
Well, it depends on the movie. I specifically chose movies where that was a pronounced difference.
Okay. So I think I have one more movie. You have one more as well?
Yes. Do you want to go into it?
We could, yeah.
I actually have two more because I cheated.
Oh, that's fine. Was there anything else you wanted to say about the fountain though?
Yeah. Just if you're looking for any kind of,
I can talk about it all day.
Yeah, you want to talk about the fountain? Let's go. I don't even need the other two movies. The fountain.
So the reason I say it's Hugh Jackman's best performance is because he's playing three pretty different roles in three separate timelines, all with varying stories of involving this Rachel Weisz's character Isabel.
Dude, that is so similar to Hero. There are three separate timelines, like told by separate people. So like they're conflicting stories, and they're all the same actors. Though it's cool. It's confusing a little bit.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It's almost like three movies happening at one time.
That gives it so much more rewatchability too.
Yeah, because it's hard to have your focus in one go and pick up everything and how the timelines might connect or if they connect. There's a lot of different ways you can view it.
Yeah, it's like a little adventure each time.
Yeah, so I don't want to give more away than that. That's more of a spiritual journey movie than anything else.
Add that to the list,
and
folks.
That's on HBO Go. If anyone's got HBO, you can jump on that.
Put in code GPP 2020 to HBO. I don't see if it works. Yeah. See if it works. If not, you just get HBO to watch The Fountain.
Or steal your neighbor's HBO account.
Yeah.
Go.
I'm sure they have HBO.
Knock on your neighbor's door. Ask them what their code is.
Mother's maiden name. And first pet.
Tell them
at the street they grew up on. Those are the top 3 security questions. So all you need is an email. You don't even need a password.
And tell them to listen to the God's Plan podcast while you're. Tell their dog to listen.
Favorite everything. Favorite our video on their account.
Okay. So if we want to get into my last movie here, this one is a comedy. I think it's an independent film. I feel like I fell into the trap again of just picking a movie that critics scored high. I don't know, but I'm sure we're going to find out. So the movie's called Adventureland, and it's got that curly-haired dude.
Is it Jesse Eisenberg?
Yes.
Michael Cera?
It is so funny you brought that up because I have another movie on my list with those two actors in it.
And what's her name? It's got
Kristen Stewart.
Emo vampire chick.
Kristen
Stewart herself.
Yes.
Who gets hated on, but she's an incredible actress.
They had a lot of
regardless
chemistry.
of her personal life.
Those two had great chemistry on screen.
Also, that movie also features, I believe, songs both by The Clash and The Replacements, two of my favorite bands of all time, old punk
Ryan
bands.
Reynolds is in it, actually. He's
oh shit! I forgot Reynolds is in
it. Canada's treasure.
He's Canada's national treasure.
Yeah.
Wow, I totally forgot Reynolds is in that. That is a star-studded cast for a 2009 movie.
Actually, JVP would be Canada's. But anyways.
That's one of those great, all happens in one town movies. Not much actually happens. Such a fun ride.
It's nice. I feel like you're better suited to connect with the movie. You could enjoy the movie better if you've had a cool dead-end job for a little while as a kid.
Yeah. Or just a summer job or just a place you went to a lot as a kid. If you ever experienced that.
Yeah.
So this is interesting.
You get into the bonds of the people you work with, and then just all the different ways you have fun together.
Yeah, it's actually, this one's interesting. So the other ones you suggested had both high audience and Rotten Tomato scores. This one actually is the opposite. The audience score is still relatively high at 61%, but that's only 1% over Fresh, while the critics have it at 88%.
Really? Whoa! So
I'm surprised by that,
like
actually. I thought it was more of a just hanging out with the characters kind of movie like Dazed and Confused, which is famously, critics hated it at the time, but everyone who sees the movie loves it. I thought it was more
critics
than that.
Didn't like Dazed and Confused either? What?
Oh, yeah, no,
it
at
had
the
like
time.
every major star.
I haven't seen it.
People,
That's like
critics
all my
just
favorite people.
didn't get that movie. That's such a just like a hanging out with the characters just because the characters are cool movie.
Yeah, like our podcast. So maybe the critics are just like sticks in the mud, you know? They're just all like wound up tight, like old dudes, and they just don't get it.
I don't think I've seen anything.
You know what? They should have gotten spanked harder with those rods from the Dazed and Confused movie.
Say it again, Daddy. I don't think I watched Dazed and Confused. I think I just made a bold statement about a movie I never watched.
Or maybe they got spanked a little too hard.
I'm thinking of Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, great
Franco
show.
and Seth Rogen and like mad at the everybody who was in
on
This Is the End.
Netflix. There's a lot of famous people who got their start in that. James Franco, Seth Rogen, the dude that forgetting Sarah
like
Marshall.
Early, man.
Okay.
Early.
All right. No.
Anything else you wanted to say about Adventureland?
Was that your third movie though? Dazed and Confused?
No,
it was not.
Oh. Wait. So what is then?
So I'll follow up with the other Jesse Eisenberg, Kristen Stewart movie that I just recently watched, American Ultra, loosely based on, and I use loosely generously here, based on the MK Ultra CIA program that played with mind control back in the day. So the idea is Jesse Eisenberg's character is one of these, guinea pigs that the CIA had experiments on. Didn't right? They wiped his brain, threw him back in his hometown, and the whole movie is him getting activated and not unwilling, because he's just a stoner when you first meet him, just almost uncontrollably taking out these trained assassins. And so if you're a fan of any kind of action movie, it's very much not Adventureland. It is like, if you watch Adventureland thinking it's going to be American Ultra, you're just going in with the wrong expectations. This is like John Wick.
Action hero, dude.
Yeah, this is like John Wick, Pineapple Express, if they had a baby. That is American Ultra.
What year was this?
Couldn't think of a weird.
This just came out semi-recently, 2015, but it just recently got put on Netflix, where I just saw it.
I don't know how I feel about Jesse Eisenberg.
I don't know.
He was an awful Lex Luthor.
Maybe that's why
I'm bitter.
He never should have been cast for that.
He never should have. Bryan Cranston should have.
He's just a quirky, nerdy
that would
kid.
have been perfect.
Bryan Cranston should have been Lex Luthor, and everything would have been just tremendous.
He'd have been better.
Other great thing about American Ultra, only 99 minutes. Not a big time commitment with like a lot of movies nowadays.
Yeah, it's like not even a flight.
Hey, yeah.
Double digits, baby. So I had a couple honorable mentions if you guys didn't have any others.
Yeah, we can list those out. I actually do have one more surprise, but I want to save that for the end.
All right, cool. So first one is just one I grew up with, saw it all the time as a kid. We had the DVD, one of the few DVD. Well, we had a bunch, but we had a few in the rotation. So DVDs in the rotation as a kid. It'd be like our laundry day movie. Early Heath Ledger and Robert Baratheon.
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
A Knight's Tale.
That is a solid flick. Yeah.
It is. I love the Rotten Tomatoes description here. Once you get past the anachronism, A Knight's Tale becomes a predictable, if spirited, Rocky on horseback. So Rotten Tomatoes says that like they have sass saying it, like, but it becomes a predictable, if spirited Rocky on horseback. All I hear in my head is Rocky on horseback, and I'm 100% in. Take my money. I want to see that movie over and over again. Oh, Queen, We Will Rock You plays like 4 different times. I'm in. Oh, there's Robert Baratheon. Yeah, Boys Are Back in Town.
Thin Lizzy.
Yep. I mean, just seeing all the old names. You see Vision, Paul Bettany's in it. He's like a much bigger name now. Jarvis Vision for those Marvel fans out there.
Is he like the court jester dude?
He's based on the real guy, Chaucer.
Oh, the evil guy.
No. Yeah, like the dude with the gambling problem who shows up naked at some point.
Yeah, I remember that was like
he's the orator. Introduces Heath Ledger's character William into his jousting duels.
Right.
It's early Heath Ledger when he's still heartthrob.
And I want to make a PSA though. You mentioned gambling problems. If anybody does have a gambling problem, this is a serious issue. Join my poker club, and we can play some games together.
Enter code GPP at Borno's Poker Club to get into the poker club.
All right. Yeah, no, great flick. Knight's Tale, classic.
The audience score there, 21% different. 58% from the critics, 79% from the users. 378,000 different user reviews.
I just got one last comment on that. What is so predictable about Rocky on a horse?
Exactly. It's just such a ridiculous statement to try to. It's such a weird passive-aggressive way to say.
We know what's going to happen now. No, I don't know what the fuck is going on if I see Sylvester Stallone in boxing gloves on the back of a horse.
The Rocky Horse Picture Show?
It's completely unpredictable.
I swear the critic who's like trying not to like the movie, he actually likes it. But he doesn't want to be looked down upon by his critic peers.
Roger Ebert, you fraud.
It almost seems like the critics are in a competition with the audiences. Like they have to be like elite almost. It seems like they're just like smarter and they tend to be just harsh.
Yeah, the person with the finer taste is also the most restrictive taste. Like one of those deals.
That movie.
Yeah.
Like colleges that purposefully only take 1% of their applicants just so they can say they only accept 1% of their applicants.
Just a bunch of people with tight buttholes, man.
That's all what it comes down to. So my last one also happens to be my favorite movie of all time. It's also the one with the biggest audience to critic differential I found during my research. The Boondock Saints. This is the 1999 classic.
Oh my god.
Featuring Willem Dafoe, Norman Reedus, and Sean Patrick O'Flaherty, and the mainer, the comedian, the white comedian Bob Marley, not the reggae singer, the reggae singer, the comedian Bob Marley. Great performances from all of them.
Fun fact: he holds a record for longest on-stage comedy performance. I think it was like 2 days.
Yeah, it's the world record. Wow, I'm impressed you knew that, boy. Now,
how do you do that?
Yeah.
I think bathroom breaks were allowed. I think that was the only time he was able to break. And he just had a ton of caffeine.
It's weird. I mean, a lot of the people I know, maybe I was just part of the cult or all my friends were part of the cult, but they all love that movie.
Boondock Saints?
Yeah, same. Me and the rest of the Branch Davidians loved it.
That's an IPO-FO, right? Or an IPO fam?
It's close to an IPO fam.
It's a 25... Yeah, this is the IPF.
It's a variation of an IPO fam.
This is the 25% critic score on Rotten Tomato. That's a 25% rotten rating. The audience score out of 335,000 reviews is 91%.
Holy shit.
Wow.
That is a 66% point differential. I did not find one higher than that.
Oh my god.
Dude, that's A territory. They're in the A's.
The Rotten Tomato critic consensus is a juvenile, ugly movie that represents the worst tendencies of directors channeling Quentin Tarantino. You could not ravage a movie any more succinctly than that.
That's wicked funny.
Yeah,
the channels their inner Quentin Tarantino.
I haven't seen it
in the worst ways possible.
The worst ways possible. Dude, I love that movie. The first person I saw that movie with, you know who it was? Who showed me that movie?
Who showed me that movie? Was that the Duncan from Arizona that calls in?
I'm talking Duncan from
Canada?
Connecticut.
Duncan from fucking, Connecticut.
It sounds like a great guy.
Duncan from Chaz, Seattle.
We watched at your dad's place at
Chaz, Washington
Street.
Oh, shit. The old condo. Classic. Yeah. So, just to give you an idea of where critics and audiences stand in contrast, here's a quick critic blurb. The Boondock Saints has ended up a cheap-looking B-movie that's pretentious, derivative, and sorely lacking a sense of fun. While the first audience review from Patrick's super reviewer, a pair of Irish twins perform vigilante justice in Boston and are tracked by an FBI agent. This movie is pretty amazing, period.
This movie is pretty amazing.
Willem Dafoe plays a similar role in American Psycho, just being a detective.
Yeah, the kind of eccentric detective.
No.
That might also just be Dafoe. I don't know if I've ever seen a William Dafoe performance where he's not eccentric to some degree.
Dafoe should be the Joker.
I actually thought that would have been a great turn for him instead of Joaquin Phoenix.
Phoenix one.
It's weird that his name is Dafoe because he's usually the hero.
Oh yeah, the Aquaman movie had that meme coming out because he was like Aquaman's mentor.
Yeah.
So they call him Willem. So they had Green Goblin instead of Willem Dafoe, and then it had him instead of Willem Dafoe.
I swear.
He's in John Wick 2. Plays a critical role in that movie.
True.
I thought he was only in the first one. I thought he was the first one.
Oh no, you're right. He's John Wick 1. He's John Wick 1.
He doesn't kill John Wick. Yep. Yeah. We
great role in that.
Quarantine.
Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man movie, like the first one with Tobey Maguire.
Set off the entire superhero genre.
Really did.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just a fun Irish hang, man. Like, who doesn't love watching a couple Irish dudes drinking whiskey, killing shitty-ass Italian
mobsters,
mafias,
shooting scenes,
scumbag, dirtbags,
stuff, dude. They had some great scenes in that movie.
Great scenes, like some of those iconic scenes. I can never think of.
That's where they're going like down. They like plunge and they're just like rotating in a circle, like attached to a rope, just shooting everybody with pistols.
My fucking rope! You brought the fucking rope.
Yeah, what did the critics say about it again? It was like they were just channeling all the worst directors' tendencies to copy
Tarantino.
A juvenile, ugly movie that represents the worst tendencies of directors channeling Quentin Tarantino.
I imagine it would be so cathartic to be a movie critic because they get so creative with their insults. They would probably be able to write a good diss track.
Oh, I guarantee you. That's probably their like dream jobs that they're just too afraid to actually pursue.
Yeah,
they all want to be, what's that roaster, Bob Ross or whatever his name is?
Bob Ross?
No, it's not Bob Ross.
It's something like
Ross.
that.
I don't think it's Steve Ross.
You know who I'm talking about, the bald guy.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Mr. Clean.
He's always on those roasts on Comedy Central.
Oh, he recently shaved his head. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. He might not be bald when he was doing a roast. Jeff Ross. I knew Ross was in there. Bob Ross.
Happy accident.
Shout out though.
Shout out to you. R.I.P. for the boy. For Bobby.
So that is my list. Those are my recommendations that just because critics may have scared you off or you've never heard of it, now you've got a recommendation.
Okay,
give it a shot.
Just to recap, we got Heathers, Run Fat Boy Run, Hero, The Fountain, Adventureland, and finally,
and also The Last Jedi sucked.
The Boondock Saints. Now, I want to make just before we get into like the closeout outro stuff, I want to just say we've been talking a lot about movies, but if anybody's curious about a cool TV show that is lesser known, Degrassi, starring Drake.
It's a classic. Yeah. I never finished it, but my sisters, I think at least, they loved it.
Yeah, Drake pretends to be in a wheelchair.
He harnesses all the worst tendencies of people making fun of disabled people.
Yeah.
Channels them into his performance.
So there's a lot of outrage right now out there, and I just like some of it to be directed towards Drake for this role.
Yeah, and I
feel he really breaks a leg out there.
Oh.
And he copies the name of our podcast, so we should somehow get royalty.
It's not okay, guys. It's not okay.
Have you tried sending him a cease and desist order on his song?
Well, we've been emailing 40 Ollie, but
we don't
even know if it's the right email.
We got to get in touch with Chiddington and Chat.
I'm just saying, a countersuit might be your play.
Could be. I've actually never seen an episode of Degrassi, but I don't know. I've heard good things about it. All right. Well, we have been recording a while. We're coming up on 25 minutes now. We've been recording for about 25 minutes. So, some great movie recommendations. Loved it. Love to hear it.
Movie reviews with Duncan.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
This should be like a more regular thing. Anyways.
That might be the title.
Dunk. We've been closing out all our shows kind of the same way.
Duncan, you want to tell anybody? You want to tell the fans out there or anything? You got a message you got to get off your chest?
Yeah, just like most people, I'm excited for the 4th of July this weekend. With it comes different feelings than most years, with everything that has happened in our country this year, between the pandemic, between the crisis of our federal government, the renewed in the spotlight plight of a huge portion of our population with the Black Lives Matter protests, and obviously with COVID and the pandemic going on. I know New England has not been hit as hard as a lot of the rest of the country, so a lot of us are planning to see family and friends this weekend. And I'm not trying to be preachy or anything, just maybe like spend this 4th of July just thinking a little bit more about how lucky we are to be in our situations we are right now, and really appreciate the time you're going to spend with your family and friends this weekend. This isn't the 4th of July to just get day drunk, pass out by, whatever. This is the one to really spend the time wisely with the people you're with. Really appreciate it. That's all I got.
I do love that. That is a great message. And maybe, folks, instead of attending a large gathering, maybe stay home and watch a movie. I don't know. I heard Fountain is a pretty good movie starring.
Maybe get drunk on your couch and just watch a bunch of movies. I don't know.
All right, troops, guys. That just about does it. So only 3 episodes remaining, people. Only 3 episodes remaining. We got a huge one coming up. Much anticipation. It's going to be a free for all. We're having like 5 or 6 people.
An Avengers style event.
It's going to be the end game. Maybe. But we only have 20 episodes. The 20th episode will be our last installment of the God's Plan podcast. It's been... Man, I'm getting... Dude,
we're going to be like...
This isn't the time to get teary for this.
Yeah, so stop it.
Okay.
We're going to be like...
You got 3 more episodes before you got to get the crying out.
Yeah.
You got to save it till then.
I'm going to be a fountain of tears.
If you get emotional, I might attack you on air.
That could be...
I'm going to have to listen to the live version of that one, of episode 20.
The director's cut. We'll release the Snyder cut of episode 20.
Alrighty, folks. Well, again, Duncan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Great movie recommendation.
It's been a pleasure.
This has been awesome.
All right.
Always.
All right, fam, listen to us at YouTube. We're probably going to be off of Apple and shit like that. Man, it's so long.
Stop it. YouTube.
Yeah.
That's it.
YouTube.
Just look at YouTube.
YouTube's going to be our main
YouTube
thing.
More. Everybody uses YouTube more.
And as far as being part of the plan, we'll still have the Facebook page up. We'll still have the Twitter, the Instagram, the Discord channel.
Discord, more importantly.
Discord's fun.
Discord's fun.
You like weird memes.
How do you say the name of the Discord on air? Or is
weird
it just
memes
a bunch of
and spicy politics.
Once we get more people, we can do a custom URL for our Discord. But for now, it's just some complicated fucking alphanumeric string.
Oh, really? Okay.
Anyways, love
help
you guys.
us make our Discord large so we can have a URL.
A custom URL. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the God's Plan podcast, folks. See you later, and be a part of the plan, people.